Hello. Yeah, you can just type it. Yeah, that's good. So I can see there are three people here. So you can say hello. I don't know who the third person is. I can see Chibike, Dalakbo. And just put a hello as you come in, please. Okay, that's good. So just put a thumbs up if you can hear me. Oh, can you hear me? Can anyone hear me? Please let me know if you can hear me. Oh, can you hear me? Oh, okay, that's good. Yeah, so let's pick up from where we stopped yesterday. So I'll cover most of what's in the slides, and as we did yesterday, we'll have about 30 minutes. Oh, yeah, brilliant. Thanks to lot from TBK. We'll have about 30 minutes for slides presentation, and then we'll move on to the interactive session. Yeah, so I'll just cover what we have on the screen, and then if you have any question, you can either type it in the chat, or when we get to the interactive session, we can discuss about it. So this week we'll be looking at Linux, basically the foundations, how things work. So I'll be talking to you guys about, what DevOps is, what cloud computing is. We already looked at laptop, you know, setup yesterday. I'll be covering what the internet basics, is. We'll talk about machine architecture in more detail today. And then I think Mr. Victor covered some Linux foundations yesterday, and some terminal foundations as well. And I'll talk about file systems. So I'll move to the next slide. Now, so I'm sure you must have heard, you know, AWS, Azure, GCP. These are companies that provide cloud computing services. So basically, what's cloud computing? The easiest way to explain it to you is, with cloud computing, you have access to those services over the internet. So what that means is that, for example, um, a good example would be, I believe we all have like hard drives, or for example, your flash drive that you carry about. That's a storage device, right? So what these cloud computing companies do is they will give you access to storage, but it will be over the internet. So it will behave the same way as your physical storage, but you will be able to access it over the internet. That's just what cloud computing is. Um, so let's look at DevOps. You must have heard this word DevOps. And basically, what it means is it's actually a combination of two words: development and operations. So development refers to all the activities that revolves around writing the code, writing all that code, your Python code, your Bash script, your Java code. So basically, what a developer would normally do. So all that code writing, falls under development. And then the operation side means how do we make the code available to the public? How do we manage the code so that, as time goes on, the code doesn't break, the code is still working. So that's what the operation side does. Then the concept of DevOps means you now have an individual who understands, what happens during development and what happens during operations, and try to merge them together to make things run as smoothly as. By the time we get into, I think, the third or fourth week, we'll do more hands-on stuff, for DevOps. Um, so why the companies use cloud? Basically because it's cheaper. They don't have to buy physical servers. So they just, say, okay, we'll just use the cloud. And it's easy to set up as well. And then there are a lot of like real world, examples. Netflix, Uber, your commercial banks like First Bank, Providus Bank, they all run most of their stuff in the cloud. They also run stuff on premise as well, which is having like a private cloud. So not owned by, AWS or Azure. Um, so I'll just move to the next slide. So by the way, is there any question at this stage before I go to the next slide? And if you're happy, just put like a thumbs up. Then I'll move on to the next slide. Okay, so there's something called DNS. So that stands for domain name system. So basically, what that means is, so a domain name is something like, for example, google.com. So that's a human readable, google.com. That's human readable. But computers do not understand, what is google.com or what is youtube.com. They don't understand that. So what the computers will do is they will try and translate, google.com, youtube.com into an IP address. So basically an IP address is made of numbers. For example, you can have, 8.8.8.8. That's like an IP address. So that's what the computer understands, but human beings do not understand numbers. We understand text. So that's what the domain name system is there for, to translate human readable text into numbers that the computer can use. Then so you guys also need to understand, you know, the different concepts, servers, computer, then client and server model. So let me explain what this client and server model is. Um, and you will come across this model a lot as a cloud engineer or a DevOps engineer. So the client and server model just means there are two, two sides. So one person is making a request and the other person is fulfilling the request. It's like if you go to a restaurant, you are the client, right? And the restaurant people are the servers. You can put it that way. So when you go to the restaurant, you say, "Oh, I need, I don't know, jollof rice." You make your request, and then one of the waiters will fulfill that request. So that's how the client and server model works. One side is making the request, the other side is fulfilling the request. We'll demonstrate that during the interactive session as well. And so I'll move on to the next slide. Yeah, so I think we've covered a bit of this yesterday, but I'll just quickly go over it. So Linux is a type of architecture. So we've already talked about Windows. So there's Linux and there is Mac, you know. So that's why you have Windows laptop, Mac laptop. There's also Linux laptop as well. But many people don't, you know, people usually go for Windows or Mac, but there are Linux laptops as well. So cloud engineers they prefer Linux because number one, there are so many open source, softwares available for Linux. And whenever people create any software, they tend to, create it first for Linux. Before, they think about Windows. So that's why people try to, split themselves into two groups, Linux or Windows. Then there's something called Linux distribution. So basically, Linux is like an umbrella term, and there are different types of Linux. So I'll give you an example. Um, there is CentOS, which is a type of Linux. There is Alma Linux. There is Ubuntu, and there are many other types of Linux as well. So they all fall under, Linux. There's Amazon Linux as well. But underlying under the hood, they're all, you know, very similar or the same more or less. So the distinction is really between, Linux and Windows because Mac OS already implements a type of Linux as well. And if you have any questions, you can type them in the chat or when we get to the interactive sessions, we can discuss further. I believe Mr. Victor covered this. Okay, I'll share my screen again. Just a minute, I'll share my screen again. Just one moment. Yeah, I'll share my screen. Just one moment. Can you see my screen now? Um, okay. Yeah, so we already covered some of these commands yesterday. PWD means, to show the current working directory, ls to list files, cd to change, directory, mkdir to make directory, torch, rm, clear. So these are just the basic commands you need to know. And then yeah, so I'm going to do this as a demo once we get to the interactive session. So I'll be showing us WSL, which is a feature on Windows to use Linux on a Windows machine. Is there any question? I think we still have about 10 minutes for the lectures before we go into the interactive session. Okay. So the lock is asking, is RHEL the same as CentOS? So RHEL is not the same as OS. So RHEL is actually a a type of Linux. CentOS is also a type of Linux as well. And I hope I answered your question. And did I answer your question? Oh, can you hear me? Okay, okay, that's good. Um, so okay, okay, that's good. Um, yeah, so okay, yeah, yeah, that's good. If you have further questions, you can ask. We still have 10 minutes, and then we'll go over to the interactive session so I can show you guys more Linux stuff. So I'll go back to sharing my screen. Just one moment. Yes, I believe you should be able to see my screen now. Um, yeah, so I think I should make some emphasis on this DNS because it's quite important. And I think to be able to emphasize, I'll do it as part of the demonstration. But I want you to know that before a domain name can be translated into an IP, it requires um, the request to be fulfilled by what is called a domain server or name servers. And I'll explain to you, I'll show you how this actually works so you see what happens. So imagine if you type google.com in your browser, there are several things that happen along the way. So one of the first things that happen is he sends a request to a domain server. So basically asking, I have this domain. Can you tell me what the IP address is? And then the domain server will respond with the IP address. Then the browser would send a request to that IP address, and then the server will respond to that request. So you can see this ties in, together with what we've talked about, the client and server model, where somebody is making a request on one side, and then you have a server on the other side that is fulfilling the request. Okay, so if there's no question, I think it's almost 30 minutes now. So I'm going to post a link to Google Meet, and I'll post it in the WhatsApp announcement, so we can head over to to do the interactive session. So I'll just quickly create the Google Meet link. Just one moment, I'm creating that. Yeah, I'll just stop sharing. I'll create the link. Okay, so okay, yeah, so that's it. Um, so here's the Google Meet. I'm gonna paste it in the WhatsApp announcement group as well. Yeah, so shall we head over? Um, it looks like someone has. Yeah, so let's head over to the Google Meet link, and yeah, I'll see you guys there soon. Right. Um, so I'll end this live stream. Right.